Welcome back, everyone, to the Round Peg Square Holes podcast, heard here first, exclusive in the FTEN X Academy. Today we have Khaled Ghorab, and the topic of discussion tonight will be how to win people over and grow your business. Born Eastern at heart and Western in mind, Khaled, originally Egyptian-born and raised in UAE, is a gender-intelligent business coach who helps small and medium business owners on how to function in an uncertainty and in a calm and steady manner to achieve growth in their business. Khaled is an ICF professional certified coach, certified gender intelligent coach, and has over 11 years of coaching experience along with co-running various businesses. Mate, that's an amazing list of credentials there. How are you?
Yeah, pretty great, man. I'm pumped. Let's do this.
How are you doing? So we're coming to the end of the year, mate. How's it been? How have you been doing?
You know what, man? I think it's been one of those years that you never could predict anything. I mean, we could never predict anything in any other year, but I think it had two sides. There's the super dark, annoying side, and there's the really good side of it. So we're going to dive deep into that in a moment. But it's been a weird year in a good way. How is your year going so far?
Lots of learnings, and it's I don't think I'd have it any other way. I mean, it's been amazingly challenging. And that's not a bad thing because, nothing good happened inside your comfort zone, right? Nothing good there happened there. So we've got to learn, we've got to push the boundaries. And I think that's what this year's been about for a lot of people. We've had so many amazing talks in here. Hopefully, this talk will be amazing tonight. So don't let us down, mate, will you? Of course.
Pleasure, man. We're looking forward. All right. So let's jump right in, man.
So let's jump right into it. So guys, I'd love to, first of all, just let you know that Khaled here is absolutely amazing, and I know him personally well myself. If you have any questions throughout the talk, just drop them in the comment box. We'll get to them later. But let's start off first of all, mate, by introducing you and just kind of like working out like your journey and why you do what you do. So tell us why do you do what you do, mate? Tell us why you ended up doing what you're doing.
I think where do I start? Look, there is a point in time where I was an IT engineer and I graduated right when the recession hit in 2008. And it was such an experience because I was like, you know what, I'm going to jump into IT. I like electronics and the internet and whatnot and all that. And then I realized this is not my kind of career. 2 years in, I was like, you know what, man, something inside of me is telling me, jump out of this ship ASAP. And I'm trying to summarize the story, but what I can tell you for sure is my dad, bless his heart, like he noticed what was happening. I was double my weight and I was depressed. I was unhappy. I was in a toxic relationship. And then he's like, Khaled, there's an opportunity for you to actually leave the UAE for a period of time. And then you could reevaluate your life. And when you're stuck in your misery for so long, you go like, nah, I don't want that. And that's what I did. And then after 6 months, he comes back and he was like, Khaled, the opportunity is still available. You get a part-time job there. You get trained by a company in artificial intelligence. And we're talking like 2009 now. And I was like, okay, that sounds like an interesting idea. So I packed up and I left to Italy. And I lived there, learned the language from scratch, which took me about 3 to 6 months to start having conversational Italian quality of conversations. And I had a coach from Tony Robbins at the time.
No way. Wow. Did you ever meet Tony Robbins?
No, not Tony Robbins, but a coach who applied.
Okay, so you met the coach Tony. Is that what you're saying?
No, man. Actually, no. Timmy. So what happened was his name is Dave Blumserberg, and he was trained by Tony and applies Tony's methods.
Oh, he's trained by Tony. Okay.
Yeah, Tony Robbins' companies. And at one point, Dave goes like, Khaled, like we covered so many things in your life right now and whatnot. And what about your career? Are you happy? And I said, actually, no, Dave, I'm not. And he said, well, Khaled, what do you want? The $1 million question any coach should ask. And I said, Dave, you know what? I like what you're doing. I like what Tony is doing, and I want to do that. And he said, well, what I'm doing and Tony doing are two completely different things. On stage, he is doing workshops and live events. What I'm doing is one-on-one coaching. Which one is it? And I said, let's try yours first. He said, okay, Khaled, professionally speaking, I will take off my coaching hat and I will wear my mentoring hat to mentor you on ICF ethics on how to coach people. For the next 30 days, I challenge you to get 3 test clients for you to work with. If you like the process, promise me you're going to get proper training credentials.
What's ICF ethics before you go on? Sorry, mate.
Man, there are so many of them. So one of the important ones that he taught me in the very beginning is contracting and how to actually build a powerful relationship with the client before you jump into the coaching. Another one is you make it about the client and only the client. And then we can go into that at a different time. But going back to the story, he helped me realize that I have a knack for asking powerful questions. And in 1 week, I had 5 test clients instead of 3. And I had so much trust from people. 2 people started their business in college. The other 3 dropped out eventually. They're like, this is not for me. But and then when I turned 27, because I jumped in when I was 25, when I turned 27, I turned around 2 marriages on the brink of divorce, and I sat in front of my first senior vice president. And that's after training credentials. And then I was like, you know what, something's working. In that period of time, Tim, I was working in the family businesses that we had. We had in textile, we had a food and beverage, we had a barbershop in UAE, Egypt. And they didn't work out. And then I realized, you know what? Nah, this is not me. I'm going to just pursue coaching full on. And I did. But the backstory behind all of this, not necessarily coaching, but the character of Khaled goes back to when I was like a child. And one of the biggest moments I had was with my mom. And my mom, God bless her, like the love that she wanted to give, but had a challenge in giving in the way I wanted as a child, made me realize, you know what, man, like I want a different kind of love. And as children, we get creative about how we connect with people. And eventually I found new ways to get her to notice me. And then I found ways to get people to notice me. And soon enough, people became my books. And I was like, wait a second. There's something interesting here. If I can connect and read people, why not turn that into a business? And over time, I realized, gosh, I can connect with everybody. I can turn adversaries and enemies into friends, just like this. And it became that natural thing about me. And I think you and I experienced that somehow, some way when we met for the first time, right? It was just so easygoing. And then I learned coaching. And in coaching, I realized I had a much bigger dream, and I'm gonna close this story so that we can continue our conversation. But with the point, in coaching, they ask you in the training, what's your name and why are you here? And being the 25-year-old, I said, my name is Khaled, and I'm here because I want to bring peace to the Middle East. And it was such an ambitious dream because I had gotten sick and tired of conflict. And I said, okay, I possess the ability to connect. And I need coaching as a toolbox for conversation. And I had both. And that became my business. So that's kind of one of the many backstories.
It's a very interesting journey, mate. I mean, it's great that you kind of got that. I mean, I can tell you're incredibly passionate about what you do. And one of the things that jumps out to me straight away is that I can't imagine you not being an awesome guy and friendly and upbeat and chirpy. But for someone that maybe isn't very strong at building that kind of like rapport and being themselves and opening up, do you think this is something that can be taught first of all, or do you think so it is a science? You can learn to build rapport really well, become friends with someone really quickly, and certainly nurture relationships with clients in a way where it's fruitful for both sides.
100%, man. And I think anybody can learn to do that because the foundation is already there. Look, bro, we were already born into this world to connect. One of the things that we can do, right? The mother-child connection is there. There's a foundation. And from there, you can build on it and teach people ways on how they can connect with anybody, anywhere, anytime. And I think it's actually a skill to be taught. And it's a must.
No, for sure. Well, communication is the breakdown of it's the foundation of every business deal, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, I've read books on it, and it's amazing. Like, even I remember one of the books I remember reading was quite, it was actually very useful for business. Actually, was just learning how to read people really well. Was actually the game. Was it by Neil Strauss? I think so. That was really, and that was about picking up girls.
Were you part of the community? Were you? Community, the pickup community, because that was part of that pickup community.
I wasn't a part of the community, but I did read the book. But so okay, you were part of this community, I take it.
for a short period of time until the direction of that community changed completely. So that's the only book at the time in my 20s that I read cover to cover in 1 week.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's actually the book that propelled my confidence to go out there and meet people. And when I read the book, I was like, wow, Neil Strauss and his story and the other stories in the book about how they learned to become confident with women, let alone the other tools that they learned. And I was like, you know what, there's something. And I came across this one guy in the book. What was his name? Something Ross Jeffries. And he used NLP techniques and hypnosis. And I was like, wait a second, I like this guy. And I started to read up more and more. And then from there, I found NLP. And from NLP, I discovered Tony Robbins. And the rest is history. So actually, I give a lot of credit to Neil Strauss on the book for where I'm at today. And it did teach you and me how to connect, how to understand people.
Yeah,
and women.
it does. It breaks it down in a way where you can digest it. I mean, and obviously a lot of people see it as a book to help pick up girls, but actually it goes a lot deeper, doesn't it? It's about human psychology and the way we work and interact and how you can learn to read situations a lot better.
Do you
So
wanna
yeah,
know?
no, I mean,
Oh, go on. Sorry.
no. So I was just saying, it's really like, I completely mirror you with that in that respect. So I mean, as we're on the topic of books, I mean, what other fantastic reads would you recommend that have got you to where you were today, and what would you say that would be a really useful pickup for people to sit down and digest to help them in this kind of sector?
So one of them is The Social Animal. I forgot the name of the author, but it's a fantastic book. And it teaches you everything from nonverbals to a lot of things. Like he even talks about how some people, because their features on their face are not symmetrical, that somehow is a thing for the subconscious mind to pay attention to. And people who are very symmetrical, obviously in the world of where perfect is the thing now online, it makes it, yes, also attractive. So I love these little tiny details about nonverbals and how to speak. There's another book here actually that I'm still reading, but it's still fantastic. I have it next to me. It's called Compelling People, right here. Fantastic book as well. The Hidden Qualities That Makes Us Influential. Another one is The Way of the Superior Man by David.
I know that one. Yeah.
I read this book 9 times. That's how good it is. I think it's the Bible for how to understand yourself as a man. And I think every man and woman should read it. And last but not least, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by Dr. John Gray. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the training and credentialing from him directly or shared the stage with him, which was a dream come true. So these books really taught me a lot about communication, how men and women are different, how to understand myself, that kind of stuff. And I can type this away after the interview is over as well.
Yeah, no, please do. Some amazing. I mean, some now I've not read or heard of. So I mean, certainly gonna look into that. So first of all, I kind of wanted let's start getting into the meat of kind of your experience and how our members can kind of leverage some tips from you right now, and certainly how to use the communicational and rapport building skills to help better their business themselves and build relationships. So I guess the killer question, we're not in a lockdown anymore, of course, and but there's still a lot of things happening online. Like I still do a lot of Zoom networking events. I mean, events obviously are still still very much kept on the low because obviously Corona's still around. Would you say it's been a massive shift for you in the way you teach your clients with this year, or has the principles pretty much stayed the same? And tell us a bit about that, because and what maybe we could do to help improve that communication online.
So let's start right from the top when it comes to has it been a massive shift for me professionally? Yes.
Yeah.
Has it been a massive shift for the way I teach? In some ways, yes. Like leading workshops for business leaders right now is so different, obviously, because you're not in the room with them. And lastly, has it been different for them? 100%. And that's where I would like to focus. So for me, when it comes to doing anything regarding connection and communication, the first thing that I actually do is I set my mind to curiosity mode. And what I mean by curiosity mode is, look, if you're going to a networking event, or you're going to a coaching session, or you're going to any meeting, and you already have a presupposed idea of how that's going to go, you're not curious. You're already laying the foundation of assumptions, and it doesn't work. But what I can tell you is the people that I've looked at for years and studied, they all have the sense of curiosity. They're constantly opening their mind up to what, why, how, when questions, where and whatnot. They don't have yes, no in their minds. One of the cool cases that I've been studying, and I admittedly say that I still watch it, is wrestling, professional wrestling. And I'll tell you why, Tim. Professional wrestling, maybe even with COVID right now, these guys, every week, twice, they go out and they have to influence 15 to 20,000 people at once and get them to feel something. The moment these guys walk out, from the moment they enter the ring to the moment they throw that punch, that it's not really a punch, to the moment they do a 1, 2, 3 and leave. And for somebody like me who's watching, I go like, man, how are they doing this consistently with large numbers of people in for like so many years? You have these legends out there that do that for so many years. And I think it's because these superstars, wrestlers, go out there with the idea that what is it about people that I need to understand to be able to influence? And that brings me to my second point. From curiosity, now I have to understand what is it that influences people. Anthony Robbins says, in order to influence somebody, you have to know what already influences them. You can't force feed somebody something they don't want. So that gets me, as somebody who networks or speaks to anybody out there, is to actually go out and, who's this person and what motivates them, what drives them? Like when you ask me, Khaled, tell us about your story, you know, what got you into this? That you have now a key into my life, because you understand what motivated me to be who I am. I'm positive if you want to help me somehow, some way, you're going to find a way to get me to fulfill my goals. Correct?
No, it's very true. Like Ramez Halou, the sales chap who came on, he tells all the time that you have to build rapport for these certain reasons. It's pretty much the same reason. Like Sebastian Bates did a talk the other day with Daniel Priestley. He's massive on data, and without that data, you're not able to really understand your customer and how to talk to them and speak their language. So you're right. It's all linked. It's all linked. It makes sense.
Right. I wanna go to the third point there, which is I think something that people forget or don't know about, which is, what is my compelling presence around people? How am I compelling people to want to spend time with me? Right? We can make it about people, but what makes me attractive? What makes me unique? What makes me different? And one of the cool questions I ask my clients about that, especially when we're doing leadership coaching, is when you walk into the room, the first thing that people do, feel, or say non-verbally, say in their minds and show it non-verbally is what? If you could think about you, like for you, Tim, like when you walk into a room, the first thing people do non-verbally is what? For me, as Khaled, I noticed something. When I walk into a room, the first thing people non-verbally do, and I think it's unconscious, is this. They relax. And I don't know if you noticed about me, when you're sitting with me, you feel like you want to talk for hours. You want to people like share their secrets with me like very easily. And obviously I keep confidential everything. But the idea here is that everybody has a compelling presence. I know the temperature of my presence is warm. There's something inviting about me. How do you think this influences the way I communicate with people? How do you think this influences the way people see me, notice me? And I think if people go deep into that part of their lives, they will discover a treasure about themselves. So when we talk about communication and presentation skills and all these trainings out there, they're great because they give you tactics. But I want to actually go to the person first. What makes you different? What makes you unique? So, yeah.
How do we go about doing that? Because there's a lot of people that I think probably struggle with that. How do I determine that uniqueness? How do I go deep so I know how people would behave if I do that? What's your tip there to discover that?
I think the tip started with that question, which is, consider like the next time you walk into a room, even if it's a Zoom chat, just quietly notice how did people first react, and track that for about a week to 2 weeks and see. You will find like a level of consistency and patterns here and there about how people are reacting, and you go like, wow, that's very, very interesting. I never felt that people would feel that way about me, right? And that over time will make you realize that's what makes people gravitate towards you. So I think that kind of measurement is very, very important for people.
No, it's true. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. I've never thought about that. I never thought about what would people think about when you enter a room. It's really nice. I'm going to try that. If we walk into rooms anytime soon, I haven't walked into a group of people for a while. It's weird. I think I've forgotten how to do it. I've forgotten how to use like what to do at an event. Like it's just strange. Yeah, really weird.
Yeah.
So Just to let you know, guys, Khaled has kindly offered today. I know we usually announce these at the end of the talk, but he has an amazing workshop called Double Your Referrals. That's something you're really pushing at the minute, isn't it? So walk us a little bit about that. And I think he is going to give an offer to the group in the academy members to do this workshop. So yeah, we'll talk a bit about that later. But I'd love to know, first of all, I like the sound of that, Double Your Referrals. So walk us a bit about this and why that's something you're particularly pushing at the minute, because it seems pretty useful.
It is. Thank you so much for asking about that, Tim. So, look, I started out there like probably any business owner out there. Like I have a passion for something. I have a discipline. I have something that I know I'm good at. And when I started, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get X amount of clients, make X amount of money at the end of the month, and I'm going to be happy. And I got to that point where I have X amount of clients, X amount of money, and I was like, okay, wait, that's not the money that I like. The amount, number one. Number two, I'm burnt out. And number three, I feel like I can do so much more, but I don't know how. And I realized at that point that I was not utilizing the business acumen that I already learned from books or learning more about business. And one of the really cool things that I learned about business is business is people. So if my relationships, like there are people out there who care about us. They care about you and your business, Tim. They care about me. They care about all the listeners and people who are watching this. And they are waiting for you to instruct them and equip them to help you. And to me, that's the basis of referrals. Referrals is not, hey, Tim, I've got this guy. Maybe you guys should talk. That's not a referral, right? For me, a referral is somebody who deeply cares about your business. The referral source is somebody who cares about your business, and then he goes and finds somebody who matches you and goes like, you guys could do something together, whether it's a collaboration, strategic alliance, client, you name it. And for me, that's about that. So I have a webinar where I teach people about that in 25 minutes. And I was like, how? Because I know a lot of people are spending so much time on Zoom and online. I was like, no, I need to help people maximize their time and get the most value. And it wasn't going to be an hour. It wasn't going to be 30 minutes. It was going to be 25 minutes. And I was like, let me challenge myself and do it. So in that webinar, I teach a sequence of how people can double the referrals in their business, because I really appreciate how business owners are doing the best they can right now to survive and thrive. The common words right now we hear today and pivot. So I have other words, but these are the words that people associate with.
Amazing. So guys, anyone watching, anyone interested in attending this workshop, just put I'm in the chat. Khaled, after the talk, we'll go in and just send you the details for that. So thank you, Khaled. That's amazing. It's really cool. So referral sources, I mean, just to walk us, I'm part of the Ascensive Network. I very much understand referral networking and marketing. So, but just walk us through how break down the referrals in a sense of how we can understand it from any business, product or service, and how it works. Because I think it would really be good to shed some light on how they differ, and how to use them effectively. Because a lot of people are doing business the wrong way, and that's why this workshop exists. But let's just break that down a bit, if you don't mind.
Okay, so here we go. For me, when it comes to teaching about referrals, and by the way, you mentioned Ascensive, I'm also proudly part of the Ascensive Network. And I love teaching that stuff and creating communities. And I love doing it for particularly English-speaking Arab business owners who are part of a family business, because I get that. I understand the struggle, what's there. When it comes to referrals, it's really important that the people around you, the networks around you, whether it's the first degree, second, third, fourth, whatever it is, they understand what your business is about. Can you believe, Tim? Like, there was a point in time where one of my best friends, and I've known this guy for 15 years, and I told him, man, why are you not referring me a client? And he said, honestly, Khaled, I actually don't know what is it exactly that you do. And I was shocked.
Wow.
But then when I learned about the idea of referrals and how people understand it, I was like, this is my fault. Because he doesn't know much about what I do. I need to sit down with him and educate him on my business. I educate him on my goals, educate him on my target customer, educate him on my vision and what I'm set out in the world to do and the impact and legacy I want to leave. I think common sense is, if this guy sits with me, he'll go out and go like, you know what, Khaled, I know this guy who could be a client for you. That's in a nutshell what a referral is. This customer who's coming my way through my friends or my network is now considered a referral. But obviously we have a referral process. You can't just give somebody that's a lead You have to actually nurture the relationship. And that brings me to the second point about referrals. The beautiful part, and that's where it speaks to me in my heart so much, is look, if you want to give business, give it with heart. And to give it with heart, you have to nurture the relationships that are in place. Whether you are giving somebody a business, a referral, or you are receiving a referral, or you are just in a network and you want to give or receive referrals. The idea here is build a relationship, activate those contacts, speak to people. The amount of business owners that are sitting at home designing the perfect website and the perfect business card and the perfect logo, but have zero customers is astounding. And that
Yeah,
tells us
no, I
something.
agree with you.
That tells us something that they're not out there connecting with people. So I just kind of gave a very general, broad idea of what a referral is, and what it's about for business owners.
Do you know, it's so true. And I think another thing, just to bounce off that, is I think people they have this misconception when they think referrals, that, like you said, like, why haven't you referred me? Is that you're not asking enough. You're not delivering what you do, or educating the people you're speaking to more about what you do. You don't want to be selling. You just want to be educating. And it's a
Yes,
difference.
yes.
And another thing is, I don't think people really niche down. So when they, like, BNI is a classic example. BNI, if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's I don't even know what it stands. Is it Business Network Institution? There we go. Yeah. So that's basically where every week everyone meets, and you have like almost a BD team going out and getting referrals for you. But there's this thing that you do every week where you have an ask. And a lot of people just tend to ask for generic things. And if you go broad, it's very much like Facebook advertising. If you go broad, you'll get everyone, but you'll get no one. You know the saying, if you're for everyone, you're for no one? It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? So if referrals, it's best to, really, really niche down and work out. And that's where, like, coming into, like, knowing your target market very well, knowing the demographics of the people you currently serve, who your best clients are. This sort of information, I find, even myself, we don't know enough information from. There's always new things I'm finding out about our ideal target market, and it's changing all the time. Certainly this year, because I think, a lot of us have gone online for the first time. Some of us have developed new products. Some people are finding some of the industries that we used to do dealings with have now completely shut down. Like for me, like we used to film events all the time. Don't get any event work now. So now events are nowhere in my target market at all. So yeah, I mean, it's super interesting when you really dive into it and deep. It's a little bit overwhelming, I'll be honest. I didn't realize that until I joined the Incentive Network and really studied it.
Yeah, and building on what you're saying, Tim, I think one of the powerful things about understanding the world of referrals and how it works is, if you get people, you get referrals. And that's why if you're a relational person, it becomes easier for you. People like us, I think you're a very relational person, Tim. You're so out there. You want to give value to people, but you also have this ability to connect easier than others. To me, that's a relational person. And when it comes to understanding the world of referrals, it's so imperative that not only do you educate people, but you motivate them enough to actually come to you and say, "How can I help?" And when you have that kind of support and that kind of community around you, man, you're doing something right. And at the end of the day, any business owner who's listening to this is probably wondering, well, you know what? There are so many other ways I can do this. I'm saying yes, and it's the way you can do it with zero cash. And credit goes to Phil Bedford for this, by the way. He said it eloquently. He's like, how to market with zero cash. It's your relationships. Do you know what? I'll tell you something, Tim. One of my biggest, most important referral sources that I have been neglecting for years is my own dad. And I know that anybody who was listening to this, they go like, like daddy's business and all that. And I can tell you for sure there's a part of that there. Because my dad wanted to support me from day one, and my mom wanted to give so much love. And you have both of these worlds come together, you have somebody who's well taken care of. And I'll say that. But it didn't help me at some point to build my own business. I had to learn on my own. So when you have that support, it's great. But when you don't utilize that support, it's like sitting on riches and not doing anything with it. One of the things that I did for the past 2.5 years was consult for the Ministry of Tolerance and Coexistence for Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak and Nahyan's team, and work with them and design nationwide programs on how people can connect tolerance, coexistence. How did I get this gig? I had a one-to-one with Dad.
Wow.
I did something that if you're part of BNI or Incentive, I hear the term gains gains profile. I did a gains with him, and he's like, you know what? Do you remember your calculus teacher? I was like, yeah. He's like, he's the head of operations there right now, and he's been asking me, how is Khaled doing? And I said, Dad, tell him I'm open to any opportunity, even though I do coaching. I'm open because this was right up my alley around, like the whole
Yeah.
piece.
Wow.
And it happened. So how many of us out there are sitting there and not utilizing their closest people? Forget networking, just your closest people, your
Yeah.
your siblings, your parents, your best friends, even your pets. You can utilize them in some way. So I get passionate about this, but it's powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. I mean, we've started recently in our business just because the year's been incredibly tough just for everyone. We've started doing our we call it our weekly laps. And it's where we just monitor where our leads come from and how our appointments, presentations, and sales convert and working out those ratios. And one of the most useful exercises I've found is we've been doing it for about 3 months now. And let's just say, hypothetically, I don't know the exact number, but let's just say we've generated 300 leads. The majority of the leads have come from networking, but the majority of conversions have actually come from very close family, friends, and existing clients of people that already know us.
Yes.
So, it's one of the things where, yes, it's amazing to network and extend your network and build a rapport, but where your rapport is the strongest is actually where the most conversions happen. And we're a service-based industry. It won't be for everyone, but I'm pretty sure that will be for the majority. That would be the right case. And people forget that everyone's got a bad, I think, outlook on networking. They think, I don't like BNI, I don't like networking, and don't like this. And and this is something I learned in the incentive network. Like, if you go to the gym and you go to the gym with someone, and then there's a group of mates there that are also training with you, that's a network. And if
100%.
you go cycling at Al Qudra, that's a network. If you go to if you're going over to the parents-in-law and having a nice big family meal, that's networking. And
Yeah.
we all know people in our network. Everyone has their individual network, don't they? So you forget it's overwhelming when you map it out. What is it? What is the ratio? I think it's the average is 7. What do they teach in the Senate? It was 700 people. Every person knows 700 people in their network on average. Is that
I
right?
think something like that. I can't remember that number right now, but I do know that was it 700 or 500, something like that.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you for sure, Tim, is one of the things that people miss out on, then this is where the gender intelligence comes in, right? So even though I coach businesses and stuff like that, incentive and whatnot, I bring in a whole set of tools also with me from my 11 plus years of working. One of them is gender intelligence. What is gender intelligence? Gender intelligence is understanding that men and women operate in very fundamentally different ways. Do they have similarities? Yes. Do they learn to operate the same way as one another? 100%. Okay. But when it comes to gender intelligence, I can simply tell you, when you go out and network, you will notice that when we network with men, it's different than when we network with women. And I'll tell you how. If you go out and network today, and whether it's hopefully face to face very soon, or in some countries where they can do that, or even online on Zoom and whatnot, look, men, because for us the hormone of testosterone is all about achievement, then you have to stimulate his problem-solving part of his brain. You have to get him to ask his advice or input for something. You engage him because that raises the testosterone. When it comes to women, because it's about oxytocin and estrogen, it has a lot to do with make her feel heard. I see so many people who network with women and talk over women, and they don't give them a chance to talk. And they don't listen, and they're not present with them, and they don't involve them in the conversation. And women walk out from there and go like, oh, what a waste of time, right? So when it comes to them, fundamentally speaking, I'm not saying that women and men don't do the same thing. I'm saying, fundamentally speaking, when you're out there networking with a female, make sure that you are listening to her and being present and ask her questions, validate her experience about things. When it comes to men, ask for their input, ask for their advice. Make sure that you're stimulating their problem-solving techniques and how these do things. And from there, now you have power in networking because you are really engaging both of them equally. And for me, that's so fundamental to the way I network and go and talk to people. Even when winning anybody over, anybody, it's so important. that
Well,
you have.
you need to let people do most of the talking. It's any good sales technique. You don't want to be talking half the time. If you're trying to sell something, you
Yeah.
let them do the talking.
Yes,
Let them qualify their
100%.
needs and their problems, and let them just regurgitate what they're struggling with. So then the sale's incredibly easy. You don't do that by talking. You do it by listening.
Great power comes in silence, man.
Yeah.
So that's the whole
bit
podcast.
of silence there, by the way. Just a little taste.
Very subtle, I must say.
I know, yeah. I deliberately did that to see if you would be silent and see if we can maybe go for like 5 minutes with no wording. But anyway, let's throw to some comment. I've got a couple of more questions to ask you, but we've had some comments come in, so I'm just going to fly through a few of those just before, because we'll get to the end and we won't get around everyone. So our first question from Stuart Cole PT. When you're trying to sell to new clients, how do you build a rapport with them so they will buy your products? So I guess very blunt, to the point.
Love that.
What would be your best answer for that, mate? What would be your best answer for that?
So, Stuart, thank you so much for the question. When it comes to building rapport, if it's face-to-face, the first thing that I do is build rapport before I meet them. And that can be over the phone or something. I show excitement to meet them. Because when you show somebody you're excited to meet them, something in them says, you know what? This person cares, number one. Number two, I do my homework about this person. I go and I research them on some level, whether LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And third, when I sit with them face to face, I take note of how they're sitting, how they're feeling. And I'm comfortable enough to actually express that to them. It's like, hey, man, it looks like you're pretty comfortable today. And I learned in working with people that when people are seen, something in them moves. And when you can move that for them, you have influence. Wow. So when you notice in many sales trainings, they tell you, like, notice their watch, notice their glasses, compliment them about, these are great. I'm just saying, generally speaking, notice something about them that you like, but notice it profoundly, because that's going to make them feel like, yeah. So that's, for me, is building rapport. And then you can go into the typical techniques of, like mirroring and articulating what's going on and that kind of stuff. In other words, make it about them. They're the star of the show, not you. So that's, for me, is building rapport.
That's an amazing bit of advice. Thank you, Khaled. Thank you. Next one. So we've got one with Sabrina. What would be your most important advice for someone who may feel lost or stuck in a rut in their work and personal life, especially in 2020? That's a very expansive question. So that's a good question. Go for it.
So this brings me to something that I'm very, very passionate about, and this is the why that drives me today in what I do. And it is a lot about changing narratives, and you've heard me talk about that a little bit, Tim. Changing narratives for me is changing the series of events that we want to live in our lives. Based on this question, Sabrina, one of the series of events that's happening right now is stuckness. To discover how you can change that narrative reminds me of something that is from Star Trek. You have to become a prime directive, which is you override the course of action of your story. Okay, big words. Now let me simplify it for you. When you discover your compelling presence and you understand your purpose and your unique value and your mission, then you are capable of delivering your gift to the world. When you have that level of knowledge about yourself, you are not stuck anymore. Now you are in motion to delivering something that the world needs from you. And so I ask a person who is stuck for so long, how dare you not give your gift to the world? And then I say to them the quote, dare and the world will yield. So that's, for me, is about getting unstuck. I love using big words, by the way, Sabrina, but I hope this helps.
Yeah, good. Just interested in learning a lot. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Right. Next question. So just have a little flick through. I love someone said, great analogy between the wrestlers and the business. If you guys are just tuned in, you'll have to go back and listen to that bit. That was quite fun. My biggest fault is that I don't push my referrals. I get them all the time, but I don't push it. Can you help? So I guess that's probably linked to, closing, or would it be closing, or just getting quantity? But I mean, maybe on both. How can you shed light on that?
Yeah, I wonder what you mean by push. So based on my interpretation, push, I feel like you're like pushing, like go out there and get me referrals. If that's what it is, I'll answer from there. Don't push. what I suggest is that you nurture. And this is something that is outside of the comfort zone of many people. But to simplify it for you, look, to nurture is to simply make it about the other person, get to know the world, see where both of your worlds meet together, and ask them to help you in that regard. It's simple as that. I was in. You had Samir GP on your show, Tim, right? And he
Yes.
had awesome walkers. I was invited as a guest on his show. It's fantastic. And he asked me because at the time I was doing also relationship coaching, part of my past. But it was interesting. And he asked me, Khaled, from all your years of coaching people in relationships, what is the secret to succeeding in relationships? And I sat there thinking, and I looked at the sky and into the horizon, and into the eyes of one of the participants, and I said, curiosity. And he jumped from his seat, like, what? It's not about common goals? I said, yeah, man, but how are we gonna know our common goal without getting curious? So you have to make it about the person first, and from there you build the relationship.
I don't think many people even know their goals. It's one of the things I think changes all the time, and it's a useful exercise. So yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Someone saying this is helpful. Thank you. We've got someone here saying they're shy to ask for referrals. Not really a question, but like, yeah, I guess that's true. Like, I guess if you're new to networking, a lot of people would have that kind of too proud to maybe ask for help. So how do you maybe wheel that into conversation where it's not so forward?
Man.
I mean, you don't want to be forward anyway, right? You want to kind of keep it organic, like you said.
I think it depends on the personality type and the behavior style of the person. And that's where assessments are very, very handy. We have our own incentive, and that's fantastic. I love it. But to answer your question, one of the key things that I get also from many of my clients is, Khaled, I want to ask for referrals. I want to sell to people if I could, but after I get a referral, but I'm shy and I don't want to come off as sleazy, and I want to come off as friendly. And they're stuck in that world where I don't know, should I not? Look, if you're shy, to me, it either means you're unclear about what is the value that you're offering, or you're probably afraid to bother somebody. Either way, it's about worth, self-worth. If I ask you today, Tim, how do you how do you find the value of your mobile phone, right? You're gonna tell me because it has benefits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It adds something to my life. It's the same thing. So if you're shy about asking for referrals, it has to do with the same thing. Go back to what makes what you sell amazing. And I promise you, that's going to change the way you see shyness. You're going to go like, you know what? Why am I not asking people to help me out with this? And second, if you're going to bother somebody, look, it's an assumption. I can tell you for sure it's really an assumption. Because when you ask somebody, can you help me? I don't think anybody's...
No one would say no. No one would say no.
Nobody says no. So
one does say no. No, it's true. If anything, they'll probably feel flattered. You want their help. So yeah, it's true. Yes. One of the best exercises I did, guys, and I want to share this with you, is I pinpointed the best clients that I have, and I asked them to be introduced to other people they know like them. Super
useful.
useful. Wow. And it's so effective. Just to pick up the phone, if they already know and love you, just literally ask them, say, look, I'm trying to grow and get more people just like you. Flatter them. They'll put their brains to it, and then they can think about other like-minded people like themselves, and then bam, you get maybe, if you do that with 10 people and they introduce you to 3 people each, you've got 30 people.
Yes. Done. And can I top that off and say, if I could, with your permission, Tim, permission granted?
No. It's not about you, mate. This show's not just about you, all right? I'm the host.
So
I'm joking. Go for it.
Practice, if you're shy about asking for referrals, practice telling people you'd love to give them referrals, and noticing their reaction will somehow register in your mind, wait a second, actually people are okay with it, and then you get to practice it yourself. So
another I'm gonna have to bounce off you. Another great tip that I learned recently is certainly coming from away from a networking event, is rather than just going in straight away to ask, is almost to offer to help them first.
Yes,
is another great way, because if you I mean, mention in the comments, guys, if you've ever been referred business and you felt really good about it and you kind of want to return the favor. Imagine if you did that with someone that probably want to do it for you. And then that's a really good way in. Like, you don't need to worry about, what do I say after I've just met them at a networking event? We didn't really get a chance to chat. If you contact them and say, look, I really loved hearing about your business, XYZ, make a couple little notes. Really, really simple. Take a notepad with you. write a note on your phone, fire it across in an email and saying, I'd love to know more about who the perfect person for you is that I can refer onto a winner. Really good opening line, I think.
I can see, Tim, that the same person said, I simply, they said something. Unfortunately, I've worked with best talent in the world, but still shy. You know what? Have a chat with me, and we can talk about that. Have a chat with me. I'm sure you have your own unique experiences, and there's always a way.
That is true. That
Next
is
question.
true. Next question. Okay, so we've got, do you find that people's confidence and self-esteem has suffered since the shift online, or is it the opposite?
Absolutely, man. I think people's confidence, because especially when it comes to business and life, we tie our self-worth to something that we're doing in the world. So if you're a business owner, it's your business, it's your baby, right? And when you see like it taking a hit, you go like, okay, maybe I wasn't much good of a business owner. So yes, it does affect it. And secondly, it does affect even the way you see yourself, like your self image and the story that you tell yourself. And that's why when I go back to the whole notion of changing the narrative, it's really about, let me challenge my current reality right now. Let me challenge the way I see myself and say, is it really my fault? And if it's my fault, to what extent is it really my fault? Like, let's quantify it. Like, from 1 to 100, how much of that percentage is my fault really? Be realistic, be logical a little bit, right? And then from there, you can work your way up, rediscover your gift, re-understand who you are as a person. What is the value that you're offering the world? What legacy do you want to leave? There are so many people out there who lost confidence, but because they lost confidence, they reignited something in them. It's for every upset, there's a setup for something greater for your growth. So,
Wow.
like,
Mic drop. Mic drop. If you got that little, if you got, I've got a mic. I don't want to drop it though. It's quite expensive. So
I think
no
it was
mic dropping.
thud in the room. Yeah.
I hate when people do that. They don't realize they break them. They're so expensive. They're like, this is like 4,000 dirhams. Don't drop it. anyways.
There's one more. I don't know. Like I noticed it, and I would love to bring it up. And it's by Chassis.
There's got this. We got this one here. Oh, I've seen Chassis one. Should we move on to Chassis first, or should we do this one?
Since you brought one on the screen, let's do that now, and then we'll go to Chassis.
Okay. So, hi, Khaled. What has been the proudest moment of your career as a business coach? That's a
Man,
great
this is
question.
so weird. I actually envisioned that somebody's going to ask me this question, and I kept thinking, and I had no answer.
So you have no proud moment. Oh, that's not very good, mate.
I have so many
Sorry,
proud
guys.
moments.
I didn't mean to bring Khaled on. He obviously doesn't know what he's doing. To be fair, I met him outside. He doesn't do coaching. He actually works at the shop. So I'm joking.
Let's tell them the truth. I am a stripper by profession, and
Do you know what? I did figure. Very close.
Yeah. Anyway, we're digressing, and this is
It's getting late. Well, it's fine. It's past the watershed. It's fine.
So the proudest moment of my career as a business coach was to actually help an organization by utilizing its relationships to save the company. It went from 30 million. A mistake. It was going to cost them 30 million dirhams, and it went down to 3 million dirhams. And 27 million dirhams were saved because of utilizing relationships. And to me, that's a very proud moment, because I know for a fact that when they saved that amount of money, they were able to pay so many salaries. A lot of people went home with money in their pockets. A lot of people were able to invest in that company for different projects. So much more happened because of a relationship that was asleep and it woke up. And to me, that's one of my proudest moments. Another one for me, even though not necessarily business coaching, but to be able to do work in the UAE with the Ministry of Tolerance and all the changes that happened right now, I feel very proud of it, because for me, when I can see in the eyes of a father pride and connection with his child in one of our workshops, that's powerful. For me, that was big. So proud moment.
Wow, really good, mate. Let's go to Chassis. What are your best tips to become more confident in meetings, presentations, and networking? That's a good one.
Yeah, man. Tip number one: do not assume that the meeting is going to be overwhelming. Fear, I'm sure you've heard many different acronyms of it. For me, it's false evidence appearing real. And so when we make that false evidence real, it becomes an assumption. Don't make assumptions about the meeting. Number two, when you go to a meeting, if this is really about confidence for you, you're not going to become confident. If you make it about adding value, saying what you want to say to add value to somebody in the meeting or the team, then you will become confident. And number three, don't go to the meeting thinking it's going to be this and just another meeting. You know what? Go change the vibe of the meeting. Go change the flavor of the meeting. Go bring something different that people can go like, that was memorable. I think a lot of people today are focusing so much on what they want for themselves than what collectively we could experience together. When I was doing relationship coaching, I had a metaphor, and it was a relationship is like a cup of coffee. What you put in it defines its taste. And all of us are drinking from the same cup of coffee in a meeting. But if you dare to change the taste, all of us are going to taste and go like, wow, that's different. So set an intention about how you want that meeting to go and be a trailblazer and start it.
I like my coffee quite strong and bitter, though.
I think we share something in common.
There we go. Not all my meetings are strong and bitter. I'll be honest, though.
Okay.
But it's a great metaphor. It's a great metaphor, though. It's a really good metaphor.
I don't know where you're going with this, Tim, but sure.
No. I just thought I'd bring up how I like my coffee. I thought it was incredibly relevant. So yeah. Anyway, before we close this off, I think we're gonna have one more question from Sab. So it seems many people have been forced to look at their careers and lives and make some sort of change this year. What would you recommend someone thinking about a change to consider to make the right decision?
It's a pretty long question. What would you recommend someone thinking about a change to consider to make the right decision? The right decision about what, Sabrina? I think when it comes to careers and lives, I must say I like the question. It's a bit broad for me, but I will do my best to give you the value that you're looking for. For me, when it comes to the new year, you're going to find right now on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere right now, people are going to tell you, join my webinar about goal setting and setting intentions for next year. Join my webinar. We can set the goals of make 2021 the best year. Great. Okay, fine. And what about you as a person? Like, your goals are about what you want to accomplish externally. What about you? One of my goals for Khaled for 2020 was to discover a completely different Khaled. And I must say, I'm very close to that. I'm speaking to you right now, Tim, and to everybody here, and I can't even recognize the Khaled of January 1st. So maybe something that can be the right decision, Sabrina, is consider what's in it for you. What's in it for you to become a different person? What is the narrative that you want to have for 2021 using Sabrina? And an extra bonus tip, when you write that down or do that, make sure you talk to yourself in third person in a very weird way. But what I mean is, when I talk to Khaled, me, I say, what does Khaled want? I don't say, what do I want? And there's something psychological and powerful about externalizing yourself from you, and it becomes a very conversational approach. And I think that's going to ease the process of you, like quieting down the chatter here to have a one-to-one with your own self. I hope this helps.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, that's very clever. But speaking to yourself in third person, that makes sense. It does.
That's how the rock,
doesn't it? She says amazing. So that's good. Khaled, it's been absolutely phenomenal having you on, and a real pleasure. And I've got like a page of questions still, but we're kind of running out of time. But I mean, you're in the academy. Anyone who has any other questions about this, if they're watching the podcast later, feel free to tag Khaled in. He will be more than happy, I'm sure, to jump in and answer any of the questions. But if people want to stay connected to you, mate, how's the best way for them to keep you in their lives? So if you've got social media pages or groups or anything that they can join, let us know. What's the best way?
So I'm definitely on LinkedIn, and I'm loving LinkedIn more and more right now. Instagram, Khaled Ghorab. Just look for me. My name is on the screen right now. You're going to find me. You're going to find my photo when I'm doing this, which is the photo that Tim used to promote this beautiful interview. And my website is launching at the end of this month, which is next week. It's dearkhaled.com. Just watch out for it. But if you visit my LinkedIn, I will be actually doing a giveaway for the launch that everybody I know who is in business will love. Last but not least, speaking of giveaways, Tim spoke about my webinar. It's complimentary. Double your refers in 25 minutes. Join it. And if you finish the webinar, you get to have a complimentary evaluation of your business with me on Zoom, or if you are COVID-free, face-to-face, because I'm COVID-free. And then we can see what we can do to help your business grow. But until then, it's been a pleasure, Tim. The team did a fantastic job with this interview. You're awesome with your questions, man. It's been really such a pleasure with you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Khaled. Guys, that is an amazing offer. So FTEN X Academy members, free, double your referrals workshop session, and basically chat with Khaled. Who wouldn't want to talk to this man, eh? Come on. Put I'm in the comments. Khaled will get in touch with you and send you the details. Khaled, thank you so much. Have a great as November's approaching, December's approaching, have a great rest of the 2020 year. Would love to have you back in 2021 to reevaluate how that year goes. And I think, it's been amazing talking to you, mate, and getting lots of value. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you, everyone.